seen what do we mean by equilibrium. So let me reiterate the definition of or concept of equilibrium. We say that the body is in absolute equilibrium when it is either at rest or exhibiting a uniform velocity. Now we have bifurcated equilibrium into two categories. One is translational equilibrium and another is rotational equilibrium. So we choose three mutually orthogonal axes. They need not be horizontal, vertical, nothing of that sort. They need to be mutually orthogonal. That's all. So if we choose three mutually orthogonal axes, we say that the body is in translational equilibrium along those axes, provided that either the body is possessing no velocity or it is possessing constant velocity along these three mutually orthogonal directions during the period of observation. Are you with me, Ketki?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then, if the body is exhibiting uniform angular velocity about all these three axes, or not exhibiting any velocity about any angular velocity about all these three axes, we say that the body is at rotational equilibrium about all these three axes. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are translational equilibrium. There has to be a translational equilibrium along three mutually orthogonal directions. There has to be a rotational equilibrium along about three mutually orthogonal axes. Then we say that the body is in absolute equilibrium. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, having said that, this was the recall of the previous class. Now, let us look at how does this equilibrium manifest itself in the form of mathematical or physical equations. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what we are going to say is, let us say this body is in absolute equilibrium, and we are going to apply Newton's second law to this body. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Newton's second law. Okay. We are going to apply Newton's second law as far as, let us say this is Z. So this is Z, this is X, and this is Y. These are three mutually orthogonal axes. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And we are going to apply Newton's second law in linear motion and in rotational motion. Rotational motion. So let me consider linear motion or possibility of linear motion of this object or this body along X direction. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So algebraic sum of all the forces along x direction acting on this body must be equal to what? By Newton's second law. It must be equal to, provided mass is constant, mass into acceleration in x direction. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This is linear acceleration. And we know that if the body is in equilibrium, it is also in translational equilibrium along x-axis. So it is not moving in x-axis, that is one thing, or it is moving with constant velocity along x-axis. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, what must be ax? Ax must be 0. Because it is either exhibiting a constant velocity, which is non-zero, or it is exhibiting a zero velocity in x direction. Then only we can say that the body is in translational equilibrium along x-axis. And when I say the body exhibits equilibrium, it must have therefore zero acceleration along x-axis. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the this equation where we relate unbalanced force in x direction with, and we say that the unbalanced force in x direction is zero, is manifestation of translational equilibrium in x direction in the equation form. Are you with me? Kitki, are you with me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So therefore, uh, the translational equilibrium in x direction leads to the first equation of equilibrium in terms of forces, and that is summation fx must be equal to 0. Happy? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Similarly, I can look at the equilibrium of this body, translational equilibrium of this body in y direction, and I can come up with the equation summation Fy equal to 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And summation Fz equal to 0. So therefore, translational equilibrium manifests itself as three force equilibrium equations. Equations को हम क्या बोलेंगे? Force equilibrium equations. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Why do we call them as force equilibrium equations? Because they are written in terms of unbalanced forces. Happy?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about the Newton's second law applied for rotational motion? So algebraic sum of moments of all the forces about x-axis passing through a point under consideration must be equal to mass moment of inertia about x-axis through that point into angular acceleration about x-axis through that point. So this is a translation of Newton's second law in rotational motion. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if the body is in equilibrium, rotational equilibrium about x-axis, what can you say about its angular acceleration about x-axis? It has to be 0. Do you agree with me? Kitki?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So as per our definition, body is in rotational equilibrium about x-axis only and only if it does not exhibit any angular velocity about x-axis, or it possesses a uniform velocity, angular velocity about x-axis. In both the cases, angular acceleration is going to be 0 because acceleration is rate of change of velocity. So if velocity is constant or 0 throughout the observation period, alpha x is going to be 0. So therefore, first equilibrium equation that we get pertaining to the rotational motion is algebraic sum of moments of all the forces about x-axis must be 0. You can extend this to rotational equilibrium about y and z axis. You will derive another two equations in terms of moments of forces. That is algebraic sum of moments of all the forces about y-axis must be 0. Algebraic sum of moments of all forces about z-axis passing through a point under consideration must be 0. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
These three are called as moment equilibrium equations because they are written in terms of unbalanced moments about a particular axis passing through a particular point. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if the body exhibits absolute equilibrium, how many equations of equilibrium in general that in general are applicable to the body? 6 equations of equilibrium. 3 force equilibrium equations, 3 moment equilibrium equations. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so mathematically are in the form of equations relating unbalanced forces and unbalanced moments to 0. Uh, these are the manifestations of what we perceive as equilibrium. These equations are manifestations of what we perceive as equilibrium. Happy?
Yes, sir.
These equations in themselves are not the definition of equilibrium. They are manifestations, effects, or consequences of what we perceive as equilibrium. Having said that, now let us try to utilize these equations of equilibrium to solve few of the problems. So can you read this statement, first problem for me?
Knowing that F is equals to 20 degree, determine the tension A in cable AC, B in rope BC.
Yeah. So we have to determine tensions in cable AC and CB. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you look at a cable, the cable cannot be crumbled. Cable cannot be subjected to compression. So only force that a cable can carry is tension. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that tension, you will also agree with me that is directed along the length of the cable. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. So knowing that alpha is equal to 20 degree, determine tension A in cables AC and in rope BC is the question that is being asked. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now to do this, we are going to learn something called as free body diagram. This also we have discussed in our first experiment, so I will not go into depth of it. What is body diagram? Free body diagram is free the body from all external agencies and show what the external agencies were doing. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I will write down the definition of free body diagram. Free the body free the body from all external agencies and show what they were doing. This is by definition a free body diagram. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the intelligence here is to choose what we call it as a body. Free body diagram तो हमें बनानी है. I can consider this entire vehicle along with this rope and person and that weight as a body. I can always consider some part of a rope as a body. I can consider the wheel of the vehicle as a body. What should I consider as a body in order to answer the questions that have been asked? Is the intelligence. Are you with me? तो हमें पहले चूज करना है कि व्हाट डू आई परसीव एज ए बॉडी जिसका मैं फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम बनाऊं और फिर उस फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम को अगर मैं इक्वेशंस ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम लगाऊं तो मुझे जो क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है उसका आंसर मिलेगा. सो देयरफॉर इट इज important to choose what we call it as a body. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to switch on my video for some time and I'm going to ask you a question, simple question. Let me know if I am visible. Am I visible?
Yes, sir.
And now this question, of course you can answer, Ketki, or anyone else also can answer. Now look at my hands. Don't even look at my expressions, just look at my hands and tell me whether I am subjecting this paintbrush to tensile force or compressive force. Yeah, tell me. Yes, Ketki.
Tensile force.
And why do you think so?
So because you're stretching the brush.
No, how do you know that? I may be compressing it.
Yeah.
Are you with me? So that's the point what I want to make. Merely looking at my hands and this brush, you will not be able to make out whether this brush is carrying tensile force or compressive force. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what should I do so that I understand whether I was applying a tensile force or compressive force? The first way of looking at it is I will observe whether this paintbrush expands or whether it contracts. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So if it expands, I must be applying tensile force. If it contracts, I must be applying compressive force. However, this expansion or contraction of the brush is not visible to naked eye. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So what else can be done? Can anyone suggest? How will you know whether I am applying tension or compression to this brush? Can anyone suggest? Yes, Ketki. Can you suggest? Are you there, Ketki?
Yes, sir. But
Okay. Now just imagine I give a cut in between. अगर मैंने यहाँ पे cut कर दिया. So if I were subjecting it to tensile force, the two parts of the paintbrush will go away. Do you agree with me?
yes, sir.
And if I were subjecting a compressive force, there will be a tendency of overlap between these two parts after giving a cut. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So what is the take home message? Now let us go back to screen. If I were to know what kind of forces a particular member is carrying, it can be easily done by giving a cut. Once you give a cut in that member, the type of force that it was carrying get exposed. Do you agree with me?
Sir.
Are you with me, Ketki?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we want to know force in cable AC or tension in cable AC to be precise, and tension in cable BC. So what should we give? What should we do in order to know how much is the tension in cable CA and cable CB? I need to give a cut. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now look at the way I am making the choice of a body. I consider this portion of rope AC along with this connector. this portion of rope CB and this weight attached to the rope all together as a body. So whatever I have marked in a red color is the body under consideration. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
The moment I prescribe this portion which is marked in red as a body, what becomes external to the body? Can you tell me? What all is external to the body? Is earth external to the body? Yes, Ketki? Ketki?
Yes.
Is earth external to this body?
Yes.
Yes. So therefore earth is external to the body. Then this remaining portion of the string AC, which I have marked here in green color, is it external to the body?
Yes.
Yes, because I am now considering only the portion marked in red color as a body. So therefore, what I show is this is point A. To this cut, this portion is external. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
I am just listing down now what all is external to the body. Okay. Now, is this portion of string CB, which I have marked, let us say in orange color, is this external to the body? Yes, because we are considering only the portion that is marked in red as a body. So even this is external. Do you agree with me? Ketki? Have we lost her? Okay, so then I will ask Smith to unmute. Smith, are you there? Smith Yankar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you with me till this point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So this orange portion of string BC that I have marked, is it external to the body under consideration?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we have now envisaged what all is external to the body. The next thing implicitly being told in this problem is the rope is massless. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
There is no mention about the mass of the rope. So we have to understand in comparison with the 1200 pound mass that is attached to or that is suspended to point C, the mass of the rope is very small. So we have to understand that the rope is massless. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me draw free body diagram of this body. So I'm going to draw free body diagram of what I envisage as a body. So मैंने जिसको बॉडी बोला है उसकी फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम मैं यहाँ पे बनाऊंगा. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let me draw that. So I will borrow this portion which I envisage as a body. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now what all is external to this body? So I know that earth is external to this body. So what earth must be doing on this object is it must be applying a downward pull. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And how much is that downward pull? So it must be equal to its mass in kg. So what is the conversion from pounds to kg? We need to convert from pound to kg. So let me do that. Pounds to kg. 1 minute. The conversion factor is 0.4536. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
0.4536. This is the conversion factor. This converts pounds to kg multiplied by 1200. So this is the mass of the object in kg. But I am showing the forces. So therefore I have to multiply it by 9.81. Earth must be applying a gravitational force on this body. What magnitude? Its mass multiplied by 9.81 Newton. Do you agree with me? Smith, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you agree with me? Yeah. Now, What else is external? So we know that Earth is external. As per the definition of free body diagram, we have freed the body from all external agencies. One of that was Earth, and we have shown what Earth must have been doing. Now, what next is external? The portion of the string AC which is marked in green color is external to portion which is marked in red color. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what this portion marked in green color must be doing on at C or on this portion, it must be pulling it because the string is subjected to tension. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tension means we have to show the arrow going away from the point under consideration. And what is this? This is the tension in AC. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is the angle that it makes with the vertical? It makes an angle of 5 degrees with the vertical. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So you have to understand this is not a straight line. This is not a vertical line. The angle made with the vertical by TAC is 5 degree. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, what this orange portion does on this red portion of string BC, it must be pulling it because the strings can only carry tension. It must be pulling portion marked in red at this point. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And we call that as tension in string CB, and I am going to show it here. So this is tension in string CB. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And what is the angle that it makes with the horizontal? It makes an angle of alpha degrees with the horizontal, but alpha is given in the problem statement. How much is alpha? 20 degrees. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now, is this free body diagram complete? Yes, we have taken care of all the external agencies. We have freed the body from all those external agencies, and we have shown what the external agencies must have been doing. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Now, is this string in equilibrium? Of course, this person is applying that much force such that this mass of 1200 pound is in equilibrium. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So we know that this body is in equilibrium. Equilibrium is guaranteed. Okay. So how many equations of equilibrium do we have? Tell me. 6 equations. Happy?
Yes, sir.
However, how many unknowns are there? There are only 2 unknowns. Are you with me? TAC and TCB. Happy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we have more number of equation than number of unknowns. So how do we solve for it? So now just have a look at it, what I'm trying to say. Let me call this as X. Let me call this axis as Y. And coming out of the plane of board towards you is Z. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Let us first apply. Mind you, this is not the way in which you will be solving the problem, but we are trying to understand equilibrium. So I'm going to tell you something extra in this problem. Are you with me? It is not a part of solution, but it is definitely the part of conceptual discussion. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let us apply this equation. Summation of all forces acting on a body in z direction equal to 0. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me, what are the forces that are acting in z direction on this body? Nothing, because lines of actions of all the forces are in xy plane. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, this equation is going to give me what? 0 equal to 0. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Does it involve any of the unknowns, TAC or TCB? No. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, this is, though satisfied, it is a trivial equation. Trivial का मतलब है जिसको जो कोई मायने नहीं रखता as far as solution for TAC and TCB is concerned. So we are sure that summation fz equal to 0, this equation of equilibrium is satisfied, but it is trivially satisfied. It does not involve any unknowns. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us apply equation summation of moments of all the forces about x-axis passing through C. Passing through point C under consideration is 0. Now tell me, if the lines of actions of all the forces are passing through C, will it produce any moment about C?
No, sir.
As the lines of actions of all the forces are going to pass through C, none of the forces produces any moment about C. So it will not produce any moment about x-axis passing through C. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So what do we get? 0 equal to 0. You try writing moments of all the forces about x-axis passing through C. As lines of actions of all the forces that pass through C, it is meaningless. You will get equation 0 equal to 0. So though satisfied, this equation also is trivially satisfied. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
When I say the equation is trivially satisfied, what I mean is none of the unknowns they pop in the equation. कौन सा भी unknown नहीं है, तो ऐसे equation का क्या काम? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, similarly, you will understand that summation of moments of all the forces about y-axis through C is 0. You will also understand that summation of moments of all the forces about z-axis through C is 0. However, these equations are trivially satisfied because the lines of actions of all the forces they pass through C, they are not going to produce any moment about C. So therefore, they are not going to, these equations do not involve TAC or TCB. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so ऐसे कितने equations है जो trivially satisfy हो गए? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So out of 6 equations of equilibrium, कितने equations? 4 equations of equilibrium are trivially satisfied. So what are the meaningful equations of equilibrium that we are left with? We are left with only 2 meaningful equations. Summation fx equal to 0. Are you with me?
Yes,
And
sir.
summation fy equal to 0. So these are the 2 equations of equilibrium. They carry any sense. They are not trivially satisfied. They will involve unknowns. How they will involve unknowns? Let us try to write it. Summation fx equal to 0. Tell me, how should I write summation fx equal to 0? What is the component of TAC? Tell me. In x
TAC
direction.
sin TAC sin 5 degree.
And positive or negative?
Positive.
No, negative. This is the vertical line. TAC is of this fashion. This is 5 degree. Are you with me?
Oh, yes, sir.
So what is its x component? It will be towards negative x.
Negative
So
direction.
it is going to be minus TAC sine 5 degree. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So therefore negative component negative है. ध्यान में रखो. Now minus TAC sine 5 degree. What is the x component of TCB? Tell me.
TCB cos 20 degree. Positive direction.
Yes. So plus TCB cos 20 degree. And what is the x component of this force, which is 0.4536 into 1200 into 9.81? It is 0 because it is vertically
0.
oriented, or it is oriented along negative y direction. So its x component must be 0. So that's done. Summation fx is done now. Summation fx must be equal to 0. Is this the first equation that you are going to have, which involves the unknowns?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now summation fy equal to 0. So how do I solve for summation fy equal to 0? Summation fy. What will be the y component of TAC? Will it be TAC cos 5?
Yes, sir.
And will it be positive or negative?
Positive, sir.
Positive, because upward y is positive. So therefore this is positive. What is the y component of TCB?
Minus 1200 LB.
No. TCB ka y component. So it is TCB cos 20 degree. Do you agree with me?
Oh, yes, sir.
And it is negative because that component is acting downwards. And what is the y component of this force marked in blue? That is that force itself. So it is going
The
to be
TCB
minus,
sin 20.
yeah, you are right. I'm sorry. TCB sine 20. Absolutely. TCB sine 20. Pardon me. Now, 0.4536 multiplied by 1200 multiplied by 9.81. Happy? This must be
Yes, sir.
equal to 0. I will rearrange this equation and then I will call it as equation number 2. I will keep unknowns on one side and knowns on the other. So therefore, TAC cos 5 degree minus TCB sin 20 degree, this must be equal to 0.4536 multiplied by 1200 multiplied by 9.81. This is equation number 2. Do we have two equations in two unknowns now?
Yes, sir.
So can you solve for them? So I hope you know how to use calculator to solve for these equations. Please you make use of that. At the end of this lecture, somebody please drop me a message and remind me that I have to upload the video which shows you how to solve a quadratic or higher order equation on calculator, as well as how to solve this linear simultaneous equations on calculator. वो videos upload करने के लिए मुझे याद दिलाओ. Okay. For now, please solve these two equations. Two unknowns are there, two equations are there. So let us solve it. Mode, even if you listen to me, what I am saying, you will be able to do that on calculator. So go to mode. In mode, go to equation mode. In equation mode, choose two unknowns. So equation seems like an x plus bn y equal to cn. And then you have to write down the coefficient of coefficient of AC minus sine of 5 degree. Ensure that your calculator is in degree mode. Then the coefficient of CB, that is cos 20, cos of 20. And then you have to write down the sine of, you have to write down the constant term, but by transferring it to the right hand side. So that is 0 here in first equation. Now let us go to the second equation. Second equation, cos 5 degree, cos 5 degree. Then next is minus sine 20 degree, minus sine 20 degree. And right hand side it is 0.4536 multiplied by 1200 multiplied by 9.81. Yeah, so just let me know if I'm right. I got TAC as 5536.4748 Newton, and TCB as 513.50 Newton. Am I right? Can anybody confirm whether I am right? Minus sine 5, that is correct. Cos 20, that is correct. 0 is correct. Then cos 5, that is correct. Minus sine 20, that is correct. And this is equal to 0.4536. I believe that this is right. Has anyone got these answers? Okay, Smith, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Have you got these answers?
Sir, actually, I don't have scientific calculator. I am doing on mobile.
Okay, so any other fellow in the class who has got these answers? If not, let us go ahead. You can cross verify it later. So TAC is equal to 5536.48 Newton and TCB is equal to 513.50 Newton. Both the answers are positive, indicating that originally assumed sense of force in member AC is correct. Therefore tensile. Therefore tensile. अगर नेगेटिव साइन आता तो हमने कुछ गड़बड़ की है, because the cables cannot carry compression. Are you with me? Smith.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have got tensions in both the cables. This was by method 1. So इसको हम बोलेंगे method 1. So method 1 में हमने क्या किया? Method 1 में we did draw the free body diagram of the body that we have chosen, and then applying equations of equilibrium, we have found out the unknown forces. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there are few remarks that you need to observe. Remarks. Tell me what kind of force system is this? Lines of actions of all the forces, do they lie in a single plane in free body diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So is it a coplanar force system?
Yes,
Can
sir.
I write it as a coplanar force system? Yes. So I am going to mention the force system in FBD. Of course, in free body diagram, you are going to look at this as coplanar. So FBD का description दे रहा हूँ मैं. Force system, coplanar. Look at the FBD and tell me, lines of actions of all the forces, do they pass through a single point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can I call it as concurrent?
Yes, sir.
So it is a coplanar and concurrent force system. So whenever you are dealing with the coplanar and concurrent force system in free body diagram, only two equations of equilibrium that two force equations, not moment equations, they make sense. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
समेशन एफ एक्स एंड समेशन एफ वाई. तो जो प्लेन में सारे लाइंस ऑफ एक्शन है, उस प्लेन में कोई भी दो ऑर्थोगोनल डायरेक्शंस आप चूज करो और उसके अबाउट फोर्स इक्विलिब्रियम इक्वेशंस लगाओ. ओनली दोस टू इक्वेशंस ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम आर नॉन ट्रिवियल. अदर इक्वेशंस आर ट्रिवियली satisfied. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is the remark. So I have written remark in the shorthand. You can write it in your notebook in the longhand. Whenever in free body diagram you see a coplanar and concurrent force system, only two equations of equilibrium are applicable or are non-trivial. और वो कौन से इक्वेशन है? वो है फोर्स इक्वेशन. कौन से डायरेक्शंस के अलावा? तो उस प्लेन में कोई भी पेयर आप चूज करो, जिस पेयर ऑफ डायरेक्शंस आप चूज करो, such that the directions are perpendicular to one another. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And उसके अबाउट आप फोर्स के इक्विलिब्रियम इक्वेशंस लगाओ, वो ही दो इक्वेशंस सिर्फ मायने रखते हैं. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. चलो, अब we are going to solve the same problem by method 2. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Method 2, which is called as Lami's theorem. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I am not going to teach you Lami's theorem separately. No. Lami's theorem, we are going to use it here, and I will try to demonstrate its proof as well to you, but through this example. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So first of all, what are the conditions that need to be satisfied when I am using Lami's theorem is the question. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So what are the conditions? So when can I use Lami's theorem? Let us first see that. So conditions when I can use Lami's theorem is: 1, body must be in equilibrium. Body must be in equilibrium. Under only three forces. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
तीन ही फोर्स फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम में दिखने चाहिए, तो ही मैं लैमिस थ्योरम लगा सकता हूं. So look at this free body diagram. How many forces are acting there? Tell me.
Three forces.
There are three forces. So the पहला condition तो satisfy हो गया. क्या condition है? The body must be in equilibrium only under three forces. Happy?
Yes, sir.
दूसरा कंडीशन है, दूसरा कंडीशन, ये तीन फोर्सेस कैसे होने चाहिए? दे मस्ट बी नॉन कोलिनियर। आर यू विथ मी? तीनों
Yes,
के
sir.
तीनों फोर्सेस एक लाइन के ही अलोंग नहीं हो सकते। दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग। हैप्पी?
Yes, sir.
दे मस्ट बी कोप्लेनर। तीनों के तीनों फोर्सेस एक, उनके लाइंस ऑफ एक्शन एक प्लेन में होने चाहिए। आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
एंड दे मस्ट बी कंकरेंट। तो अब जरा देखो बुक्स में इसका डेफिनेशन कैसे दिया जाता है लैमिस थ्योरम का। लैमिस थ्योरम इज एप्लीकेबल ओनली एंड ओनली व्हेन a body is under equilibrium, under body is in equilibrium under the action of three non-collinear, coplanar and concurrent forces. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
तो वही मैंने लिखा है, लेकिन दो कंडीशंस में उसको लिखा है। बॉडी मस्ट बी इन इक्विलिब्रियम अंडर ओनली थ्री फोर्सेस। पहले तो वो देखो, फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम में अगर तीन से ज्यादा फोर्सेस आपको दिखे, डिस्कार्ड, लैमिस थ्योरम कैन नॉट बी अप्लाइड। आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
उसके बाद वो तीन फोर्सेस नॉन कोलिनियर, कोप्लेनर और कंकरेंट है कि नहीं देखो। इफ दे आर नॉन कोलिनियर, कोप्लेनर, कंकरेंट, देन लैमिस थ्योरम कैन बी अप्लाइड। हैप्पी?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, अब जरा देखो लैमिस थ्योरम हम अप्लाई कैसे करते हैं। सो आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू द मेथडोलॉजी। और तो कौन सा भी फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम आपने कैसे भी ड्रॉ किया और लैमिस थ्योरम अप्लाई किया, ऐसे नहीं चलेगा। आर यू विथ मी?
Yes, sir.
तो ये तो समझा कि कौन से कंडीशंस के अंडर लैमिस थ्योरम अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। अब ये भी समझो कि लैमिस थ्योरम कैसे अप्लाई करें। सो नाउ लेट मी ड्रॉ दिस फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम हियर। तो यहाँ पे फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम फिर से बनाता हूँ। देखो दिस इज 1200, सो 0.4536 into 1200, do you agree with me, into 9.81, this is in न्यूटन। दूसरा कौन सा है फोर्स यहाँ पे? TAC। do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
What is this angle with the vertical? It is 5 degree.
5 degree.
This is TAC. And then we have TCB. TCB. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
This angle is 20 degree. Sorry. This angle is 20 degree. तो अब जरा देखो, if you have to apply Lami's theorem to this free body diagram, you must ensure that at a point of intersection, all the forces cause the effect of same nature. That means if you look at this free body diagram, all these points, all these forces are pulling at a point. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
तो ये सारे पुलिंग होने चाहिए या फिर पुशिंग होने चाहिए। Now we have already learned what is something which is known as sliding force as a sliding vector. I can slide this force along the line of action anywhere and it will have same effect. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So we call that as transmissibility of a force. I can transmit this force along like its line of action. So imagine, suppose in free body diagram you see forces like this. This is P1, this is P2, and this is P3. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So digress, this is digress. Digress का मतलब होता है changing the topic. So I have taken another example. Let us say this is the free body diagram. All these forces are non-collinear, coplanar, concurrent, and they are three in number. Can I apply Lami's theorem? Yes.
Yes.
Are you with me? However, to apply it, I will have to first modify this free body diagram. कैसे modify करूँ? At this point, I want all the forces to produce same nature of effect. P2 and P3 are pulling at this point. However, P1 is pushing at this point. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? I will have to slide this P1 down such that it becomes pulling at this point. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And now apply Lami's theorem to this new free body diagram and not the earlier one. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So in methodology, what is the care that we have to take? We have to show all the forces of same nature. Happy?
Yes, sir.
At a point. Next methodology. Whatever is the nature of that forces, that nature we are going to call it as positive. So यहाँ पे कौन सा nature है बताओ मुझे. What is the nature of all forces at this point? Pulling.
Yes, sir. Pulling.
So we are going to call pulling as positive. Happy?
Yes, sir.
अगर कोई डायग्राम ऐसे है कि जिसमें all the forces are pushing in nature, then in this case we are going to call pushing as positive. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So this is for interpretation. Whenever we have drawn a free body diagram and we want to apply Lami's theorem, we have converted it in such a fashion that the forces are either pulling or pushing at a point. If they are pulling, I call pulling as positive. If they are pushing, I call pushing as positive. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now what is Lami's theorem? तो Lami's theorem का statement मैं आपको देता हूँ. Imagine that you have three pulling forces at a point. I call this as P1. I call this as P2. Happy?
Yes, sir.
I call this force as P3. Let me call angle between P1 and P2 as theta1. Angle between P1, P2 and P3 as theta2. And angle between P1 and P3 as theta3. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So what is the statement of Lami's theorem? P1 upon sine of theta2 is equal to P2 upon sine of theta3 is equal to P3 upon sine of theta1. This is the statement of Lami's theorem. Mathematical interpretation. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
How do we explain that statement? देखो, so when you are writing P1, you are writing the angle between P2 and P3. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
लेकिन कौन से साइड का? P2 और P3 के बीच में ये भी एंगल है और ये वाला भी एंगल है. Do you agree with me?
हाँ.
तो कौन सा एंगल? जिस साइड में
Opposite.
P1 है उसके अपोजिट साइड वाला. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So when I am writing P1 in the numerator, denominator में साइन रहेगा. कौन से एंगल का? P2 और P3 के बीच वाला एंगल. कौन सा? P1 जिस साइड में है उसके अपोजिट साइड में जो एंगल है P2 और P3 के बीच में वो एंगल. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, when I write P2, then I am going to write down the angle between P1 and P3. लेकिन कौन से साइड वाला एंगल?
Opposite to P2.
हाँ, अपोज P2 जिस साइड में है उसके अपोजिट. Similarly, P3 upon sin theta1. This equality is the mathematical statement of Lami's theorem. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So whenever people are asked about the definition or principle of Lami's theorem, they typically quote this statement as the Lami's theorem. Are you with me? But you have to understand this is not Lami's theorem. This is the mathematical statement of Lami's theorem. What is Lami's theorem? Lami's theorem की शुरुआत यहाँ से करनी पड़ती है. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So whenever a body is in equilibrium under the action of three non-collinear, coplanar and concurrent forces, the relationship between the magnitudes of those forces can be written by the equality P1 upon sine theta 2 equal to P2 upon sine theta 3 equal to P3 upon sine theta 1, provided in that free body diagram all the forces are of same nature. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And now suppose for equilibrium you get a negative sign. Let us say after solving this equality you get P2 as negative. What does it mean? Originally assumed sense of P2 is incorrect. So originally I assumed it to be pulling at this point. It must be pushing. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
If I apply this equality to this situation, and I get negative sign, that means that force must be pulling, because here pushing is positive. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in this context, we are now going to apply Lami's theorem to this. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So let me take this free body diagram here. So this is now very much we had taken the diagrams, we have come back. This is the free body diagram of the body under consideration. It satisfies all the conditions required for Lami's theorem to be applied. Let me apply Lami's theorem. So how do I apply Lami's theorem? TAC upon, what should I write? Sine of which angle? Sine of this angle. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And what is that angle? हॉरिजॉन्टल के साथ TCB ने किया हुआ एंगल 20 डिग्री अगर है तो 200 पाउंड विच इज वर्टिकल उसके साथ किया हुआ एंगल कितना होगा? Pardon?
70.
Yes. So it is TAC upon sine 70 degree. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This must be equal to TCB upon, बोलो कौन सा एंगल लिखूं? I have to write down this angle now. Happy?
Yes, sir.
And how much is that angle? 175 degree.
Yes, sir.
So this divided by sine of 175 degree. This must be equal to this force, which is 0.4536 multiplied by 1200 multiplied by 9.81 divided by sine of कौन सा एंगल लिखो? Now I need to write down this angle. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So how much is that angle? Vertical और horizontal के बीच में 90 degree plus this 5 degree 95 हुआ plus this 20 degree 95 plus 20 how much?
115.
115.
115 degree. So sine of 115 degree. Now you solve first and third equality, you get TAC. You solve second and third equality, you get TCB. So Lami's theorem is a mathematical statement which in fact are two equations. Do you agree with me? Two independent equations. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now solve. Let us solve for TAC and TCB. So how much is TAC? It is 0.4536 multiplied by 1200 multiplied by 9.81 divided by sine of 115 degree multiplied by sine of 70 degree. So I got it as 5536.48. Are you with me? Others, please cross verify. Smith, are you getting this answer?
Sir, I am getting 5530.8.
No, 0.4536 into 1200 into 9.81 by sine 115 into sine 70. Don't do any rounding off in between. So you will get it as 4.48 Newton. Now let us solve for TCB. So how much is TCB? TCB will be equal to same thing multiplied by sine 175 instead of sine 70. So let me do that. I got it as 513.50. Others can cross verify Newton. So by both the methods, and this is positive, therefore they are pulling at a point. TAC is pulling and TCB is also pulling at C. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This is the answer. This is how I show that it is pulling at C. You have to show the point and show the arrow going away from it in the direction AC. Happy?
Yes, sir.
So even Lami's theorem gives you the same answer as we have solved it using the equilibrium. Now quickly we will deal with the proof of Lami's theorem and then we are going to stop for today. Problem 16 we will handle it next time. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
तो चलो यहाँ पे मैं क्विकली फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम दिखाता हूँ. दिस इज P1, हैप्पी. दिस इज
Sir, happy.
P2 and this is P3. P3. P3 bar, P1 bar and P2 bar. The angle between this is theta1, angle this is theta2, and angle between P1 and P2 is theta3. So now as these are the sliding vectors, ये सारे vectors जो है वो sliding vector है. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
So if these are sliding vectors, can I complete a triangle out of it? For example, let me say this is P1 bar. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Then let me say this is P2 bar. Just give me a second. Okay, so I need to take this call. It's already 12:44, so I think we will resume the proof in next class. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So that is a geometrical proof, very easy. You have to apply sine rule in triangle, and you can do that. We will do it in the next class, and then we will take up with the next problem. So let us stop here today. You can put your attendance in the same link.